Hello. So I thought I'd do a little chat on my history with cannabis. I am a legal medical cannabis grower in New York State, and I have my medical marijuana card, which gives me the right to grow up to 6 plants, three in each stage of 2 stages. Right now, I'm struggling to get one in any stage other than the one that's in the tent. So, anyway, I am turning 60 in about 5 months, and I didn't learn any of this stuff about cannabis or growing because I smoked only until I was about 18 or 20, and then I suddenly became allergic. It made me have severe nausea and throw up, so I didn't like it anymore, and I stopped using it until in 2000 I had to do chemotherapy, and my doctor actually, they couldn't control the vomiting that I was having. So I mean, I was on like at least 3 or 4 different medicines for vomiting, and none of them were working. Phenergan was one of them. So my doctor, and I was in Maine at the time, recommended that I get some marijuana, and I was like, but it makes me puke. And he said, well, at this point, everything makes you sick, so maybe it'll help. And so I got some from a friend because I didn't know if it was going to help or not until I tried it. And I tried it, and just a puff or two, my vomiting was gone, and within 20 minutes I was hungry. I actually wrote to Ben and Jerry's and joked that I was on the Ben and Jerry's diet because all I could eat was a spoonful or two of Ben and Jerry's a few hours a day throughout my like chemo diet, and lost 63 pounds. They sent me 6 free coupons for half pints of Ben and Jerry's. Thank you. That was in 2001 or so when I found out I was tested, free, and didn't have to. I became allergic to the chemo, so I had to stop, and I died a couple times during the chemo from lung issues and infections. So they made me stop, told me I was allergic to it and I would never be able to have it. And I was kind of like depressed. I thought that was it. I was going to die because I had a fatal illness. But I used cannabis probably only once a week or so when the nausea was really bad. I didn't really use it recreationally at all. I was so afraid that if I used it recreationally, it wouldn't work when I need it medically. My tolerance is very high, so I was afraid that using it recreationally would make the medical weed not work. So, and then the only difference between recreational and medical weed is nothing. They're exactly the same. Medical weed is just bred in such a way to bring out the parts of the plant or parts of the cannabinoids or whatever that treat nausea, or that make people feel hungry, or help with pain or anxiety and things like that. High CBD strains usually help me with anxiety. So anyway, I didn't know how to dab. I didn't know how to do anything. I was using glass pipes, blown glass pipes. That's the only thing I'd ever smoked out of. And then, I had that little purple bong, and I had to learn how to do all this stuff. I had to learn how to clean it. I had to learn how often to clean it. I had to learn all of it. And yes, the medical stuff, which is usually much higher in THC, especially the wax. That's why I use that at nighttime, because it treats my severe intractable insomnia that no medication treats. So I am diagnosed with that. I mean, I've got like 8 of the conditions in New York State required. But anyway, yes, that is one of the odd notes, that it's a recreational weed state in New York State. So why are you still required to have a medical doctor prescribe the cannabis if it's like recreational and decriminalized and legal in New York State? then why do we need a doctor to prescribe it so that every year we have to pay that and then get the card renewed every year? Even your driver's license it's every 8 years, right? So I don't often get high or feel any real high effects, unless it's, I'm dabbing on the wax. That usually makes me feel heavy and very relaxed, and sometimes I pass out in my chair, and then I have to get up and go to bed. So yeah, that works really, really well. I don't like doing it during the day so much because it does knock a few hours out of my evening, and then I'm awake. So it's like and can't think of the word, but it's in the way. It's like a cock block. So, all right. Well, this has been a long hangout with a little bit of my story on how I got into cannabis. I didn't even talk about the growing aspect, so I guess we'll save that for another one and hope that YouTube uploads this one. So maybe I'll continue this series. And this is Kentucky College of Barbering. Yeah, it says barbering and hairstyling. I'm a graduate. Though you can't tell by looking at my hair.